Okay, perfect. All right, so welcome everybody to our Community Service Commissions meeting. It's kind of a special meeting. So Wednesday, January 29th, 8:30 a.m. Let's go ahead and call our meeting to order at 8:33. Okay. So let's see. Approve agenda. Do we have a motion to approve our agenda for today? Yep. Second?
Second.
Okay. Presentation and informational reports. We don't have any. Public comment. This provides an opportunity for members of the public to address the commission on items of interest to the public within the commissioner's jurisdiction and which are not already on the agenda this evening. It is the policy of the commission not to answer questions impromptu. Speakers should limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes. For items which are on the agenda this evening, members of the public will be provided with an opportunity to address the board as each item is brought up for discussion. Any public comment? No public comment. Okay, so this brings us to our regular calendar, Parks Master Plan discussion and presentation. So again, this is a continued item from our January 22nd, 22 meeting. Okay. Yes.
Thank you for meeting with me. I'm Sam Langford from Fresno State University. I've been there since 2014. Before that, I was at Northern Iowa for 13 years, 11 years at University of Hawaii, and 7 years at University of Oregon. So I've got a few years on me. So we're here to talk about a master plan project for you. We do this for other communities through a program called Sparky, Sustainable Park and Recreation Community Initiative. So we've completed one for Kerman. We're in the middle of one for McFarland Park and Recreation District. We just finished a very large 3-year project for California State Parks. And that report was submitted about a month ago, so that's wrapping up. Anyway, this work plan you have in front of you is one I've been using at all of those places I just said where I worked. I did this kind of work in the communities. So I've been involved in many master plans for a lot of different communities. My background is city planning, and I just happen to specialize in parks and recreation and tourism. So the process goes all the way back to the 70s, where I learned this process from another planner, and I've modified it over the years. What's significant about it is that we have opportunities for your community to get involved and ask questions and also try to get information from them to establish direction for the Parks and Recreation system in Kingsburg itself. So having said that, we are going to do a survey in the community. We'll place that online using Qualtrics. So I'll need email addresses of some sort from the community. We'll promote that survey itself to get people to log on and take it. And we also have the ability to do a mail-out survey, and usually when I do that, we do 3 mailings to get a response rate that is meaningful for you. And then we will also do intercept surveys. So you'll have students in the community going to parks and possibly any community centers, any special events. And those will be 1-page surveys asking people to fill out some of the same information. Then we'll analyze that data, and in the same time, we'll be doing an inventory of your parks and recreation system, or whatever you have, and get that mapped on a GIS for Adam to use with his staff. And then we'll identify where we think you should locate additional parks, and maybe you have those ideas already, and we're going to find that out from you anyway. And then those get mapped on the system as well. And then we'll go through a bit of a focus group process to identify priorities and where we think you should begin investing your time, effort, and money for the system itself. So that's in a nutshell what that process is like. My experience has been the more stakeholders that we get involved, the better this will be. So we'll want to reach out to civic groups, school district, police, fire, and those sorts of organizations to try to get them involved in helping talk about parks and recreation and how to create an outstanding program for the city itself. Do you have any questions on the proposal?
Let's see, a few of the questions that I had, it looks like that you answered with your intro. But I do have a few others, though. What challenges have you encountered in past master plan updates, and how have they been addressed?
You know, I think the process that we've laid out sort of minimizes problems because it's open up and, you know, we control, I don't want to use the word control, but we receive information and we're able to solicit information. There's been a project up in Mount Hood, Oregon that, and I know we're not going to do this, but the community group used to meet in a bar. So by the time I got up to the mountain with my team from Eugene, that's a 3-hour drive, they had too much to drink. So that was a 3-year project. We finally got them to move out of the bar, and we met in places like this. They didn't have a city hall, but, you know, somewhere neutral. So that was a problem. That was just basically trying to work with a stakeholder group to get them to sit at the table and talk about their future. So I don't envision anything like that. Once in a while, you know, someone wants to take exception to something about spending money on parks and recreation and so forth, but that's very rare. You know, if you think about what we do here, this is a positive thing for the community. It's not like, you know, building a road that only some people are going to use. All people will use this, so there really hasn't been any big issues. I think in some cases, implementation of plans could be a challenge because, you know, it's going to cost money, but that's why we try to help you prioritize things that are within reach immediately and then, you know, long term. I believe in August, California Parks grants are due, proposals. So, you know, my intention here is to get this ready for you by then because you can't apply for some of those monies without a master plan. So that's my goal. So we'll want to move this along quickly as we can. So that's what is to set you up for success for funding.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm all about efficiency. Okay, awesome. And then another big thing for us is community involvement. So what strategies have you found most effective for engaging community in the park planning besides what you listed as far as like getting the survey stuff?
Right. So we will promote and hold a number of focus groups and that can be done at a school, it could be done at a church, it could be done at here, anywhere you want. Mm-hmm. And try to get different groups in. So we'll work with the teenage group if there's some of those folks around. We'll work with seniors and try to gather information from them and have some community meetings as well. Your sports organizations are going to be very important to bring in on this because they're using your facilities. So we'll want to have their involvement. So we can establish a bit of a website, if you like, where people could go and get information or provide it to the city and people can go to that site and go on there and give comment and so forth. But what I'd like to do is that we have some sort of steering committee, and I'm assuming this group is it, that we talk about those things and then you help us promote that and reach out to people you know and try to get them involved. talking about that, we have the online survey, so that only reaches certain people, right? Like, I have a phone, but I still call it a telephone. To me, it's not a device. I can get my email, but that's about it, right? And the younger kids are real good at that, or younger population. Older people don't do that. So that's why we do a mail-out survey to them. They will respond, and I've analyzed the data. In fact, I'm working on it right now for McFarland, the mail-out survey versus the online. And there's some definite differences in age and things. So that's why we do the extra mail-out. That's another way of involvement. And then that information is presented to your community. So we'll graph it, and we'll have another meeting, and we'll talk about what we think it means to the community and our interpretation and how to use it.
Can you explain a little bit more on what is on the survey? What does the survey entail? Like, what are we asking?
Good question. I think I brought one, okay, from McFarland. Not. Okay. I had it ready. The survey itself, of course, has demographics, which we need to analyze the data. So we do cross-tabulations of the different questions and the findings by age and gender and whatever. If we want it, I noticed you've got District 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the community. We can identify by district as a cross-tabulation. There'll be questions on current use of any facilities and that pattern. That's called leisure behavior. So we want to know what people are doing with their free time, where they do that, how often they do that, how many people is a group. So how many people are going to the park for the barbecue or the soccer game and things like that. Then we will look at things like what they are interested in supporting. And that with your help, we establish a list of possible projects that you've maybe talked about over the years and have people rate, and that's an important word, rate, not rank, rate the importance of each of those. And then that gives us a target list of what to kind of highlight when we talk about priorities. So it might be a community center, it could be a swimming pool, it could be a park, it could be a regional park, a neighborhood park. There's various stages of park development. And then we'll have programming questions as well if Adam and your staff want that. So we've done the programming questions, and those are things like what kinds of programs do teenagers, are they interested in? What kinds are the seniors interested in? What kinds are family interests? Things like that. It's better to ask what people do with their free time, what that pattern is, rather than what they would like to do. So when we talk about needs assessments, the tendency is to give a big, long list of activities and ask people to tell us what you would like offered. So then Adam's problem is he's trying to get people in the door for that program and nobody shows up. I would like to jump out of an airplane in a parachute, but I'm not going to do it. Adam can offer that program all he wants, but I would put on that survey, I'd really like to try that, but I don't have the guts to do that. So that's a problem with needs assessments. So over the years, I've learned this, that if you ask people what they do on Saturdays, Sundays, evenings, and kind of you get that pattern in your community, that's your program. So then Adam's staff can build on interests in, let's say, a lot of people said they like soccer. Well, why not bring in some semi-pros from maybe the Fresno teams to hold clinics? You start building on soccer. So that's what I'm getting at. And then, so if we establish that pattern, and that'll be in the questions in that survey to help us do that. And then that also tells us what kinds of facilities you lack in order to support those things. I will give some consideration to tourists a bit, because you do have a tourism based economy here of some sort, and, we'll look at that too in relationship to Parks and Recreation, and what kinds of things might bring people out of town to spend money, or what kind of facilities they need to spend money. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but.
Yeah, no, I think Adam had a good question. Yeah,
So that survey, though, we're going to give you a draft, and Adam and you all are going to approve it. So I have an idea of what you need, but the end one will probably look very different.
got it.
One more caution on the surveys, and is that they have to be focused, and you can't have the whole kitchen sink in there, because they become too long and people won't answer. They won't finish the survey. So our goal here is to have a really honed survey that's right to the point and as short as possible. So what that means to me is if I'm sending out a mail out, it's 2 pages, front and back of both pages. That's it. And then, online is basically the same thing, but you just don't know the pages.
Mm-hmm.
If we need it in another language, we can do that as well. So I'll just need to know the languages.
Okay. Good.
Sam, I have a few questions for you. How does the updated plan address accessibility, inclusivity, and sustainability in park design and programming?
We're not designing a facility, so we don't get into the ADA material. I'm just trying to think of an instance. I don't know if I have an answer to that. But a quick answer would be what we were just talking about, is the community involvement. So there may be particular groups in the community that you want to hear more from, then we'll make that effort to get that information. So that's how I would go about it. That might lead to some things that you don't know about and that can be talked about in the plan itself.
Can I go off of that question? I guess some things to bring to your attention from the commission and what we've been discussing is so for our parks, inclusive playgrounds for all disabilities, not just what we think of ADA, of what is the minimum. So that's a big thing for our community and our current discussion. So this will be something new for you, it sounds like.
Well, no, I have Michael Mahoney in our department specializes in access and inclusion.
Okay.
So we can address that.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
What metrics or benchmarks will be used to measure the success of the master plan over time?
Over time? Well, one is new funding, for sure. The other one should be something centered around a timeline of building or scheduling to build any new facilities and parks. And I'm just saying parks. I don't even know if you need parks. We haven't done an inventory.
One is what specific data or trends were used to shape the recommendations in your plan?
What information we're going to use? Yeah, so it'll be the survey itself, that data. It will be the U.S. Census as well, and projecting out what changes might occur here. I know you just finished your general plan, so there's some new population data available.
Awesome. Any other questions? No. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So next item, to adjourn our meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Yes, in a second. Okay. So we'll adjourn our meeting at 8:53.